The garage floor is freezing against my cheek, a slab of concrete that smells like motor oil and regret. My ribs scream with every shallow breath, each one a jagged reminder of Liam's steel-toed boots slamming into my side. I'm curled into myself, knees tucked, arms wrapped tight like I can hold my broken pieces together. The pain is a living thing, clawing through my chest, hot and relentless, but it's the silence that cuts deeper. Above me, the fluorescent light buzzes, casting a sickly glow over the toolbox, the rusted lawnmower, the life I thought I knew. Seattle's winter rain drums against the metal roof, a steady rhythm that drowns out the world but not the echo of my brother's voice. "You should have just given me the money, Donovan," he'd sneered, right before his fist cracked across my jaw. I don't know how long I've been lying here. Minutes? Hours? Time feels like a fever dream, slipping through my fingers as the blood in my mouth dries to a metallic tang. My phone vibrates somewhere in my jacket, but I can't move to check it. Not yet. Every shift sends a bolt of agony through my ribs, and I'm terrified they'll crack further if I so much as twitch. I close my eyes, willing the world to fade, but her voice slices through the haze. My mother, Claire, standing in the doorway, her silhouette sharp against the kitchen light. "Don't do this, Donovan," she says, her tone low, rehearsed, like she's reading from a script she's memorized for years. "You'll ruin Liam's scholarship, his future. Just stay quiet." Her words hit harder than Liam's kick. "They always do." I want to scream, to tell her I can't breathe, that my body feels like it's caving in, but my throat locks up. The silence she's demanding isn't mine to give anymore, it's hers, always has been. My father, Michael, looms behind her, his face a mask of indifference. He doesn't ask if I'm okay, doesn't even look at me. "Get up," he says, voice flat. "We're going to the clinic." "You crashed your bike. Got it?" I don't nod. I don't speak. I just lie there, tasting the lie they're forcing down my throat. 2 hours earlier, I was standing in the garage, the air thick with the smell of gasoline and damp cardboard. Liam had tossed a crumpled car loan application onto the workbench. His varsity jacket slung over his shoulder like he was some small-town hero. "Sign it, Donovan," he said, leaning against the wall, all cocky grin and entitlement. "You know, I'm good for it." I crossed my arms, the weight of his request pressing against my chest. "You've defaulted on every loan you've ever taken," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I'm not putting my name on this." His laugh was sharp, a blade disguised as humor. "You think you're better than me, huh? Always the same, always judging." He stepped closer, his shadow swallowing the space between us. I held my ground, but my heart was already racing. Michael was in the living room, glued to the Seahawks game, the TV blaring loud enough to drown out any trouble. "You didn't look!" Up when Liam's hand shot out, a blur of knuckles that caught my cheek and sent me stumbling into the workbench. Tools clattered to the floor, a wrench skidding across the concrete. Before I could catch my breath, his boot found my ribs. Once. Twice, the world tilted and I hit the ground, gasping like a fish yanked from water. The pain was blinding, a white-hot explosion that stole my air. I heard myself whimper, a sound I didn't recognize, and through the haze, I saw Michael's silhouette in the doorway. He didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. I don't remember crawling to the corner. I don't remember the moment Liam walked away, his boots echoing on the concrete. But I remember the cold seeping into my bones, the way my hands shook as I pressed them against my side, trying to hold myself together. And I remember the USB drive in my jacket pocket, a tiny weight that felt heavier than the world. I'd labeled it, "If I vanish," months ago, a paranoid precaution I never thought I'd need. Now it's all I can think about, its edges digging. Into my palm like a lifeline, the clinic smells like antiseptic and despair, a sterile purgatory tucked between a hardware store and a laundromat in a strip mall off Aurora Avenue. Michael's hand is a vice on my arm as we walk in, his grip a silent warning not to stray from the script. My hoodie is pulled up, the collar hiding the bruise blooming across my jaw, but it can't cover my eyes. They're hollow, red-rimmed. Screaming what my mouth won't, the receptionist glances up, her smile faltering for a split second before she buries it in paperwork. Michael shoves me toward a plastic chair and mutters something about a bike accident. I don't look at him. I can single quotes T. Dr. Carter enters the exam room, his face calm but sharp, like he's seen too many lies to believe them anymore. He doesn't look at Michael, doesn't acknowledge the story about the bike. He looks at me, his eyes tracing the way I'm holding my side, the way my breath hitches. This isn't from a bike crash, he says quietly, his voice steady but heavy with certainty. I flinch, not because he's wrong, but because it's the first time someone said the truth out loud. Michael shifts in the corner, clearing his throat like he can bully the room into submission, but Dr. Carter doesn't blink. He steps outside, phone in hand, and I know he's calling someone who can change everything. My hands grip the exam table, the paper crinkling under my fingers. The USB drive is still in my pocket, a secret I'm not ready to share but can't let go of. Michael's staring at me now, his eyes hard, promising consequences if I don't play along. I don't meet his gaze. Instead, I focus on the linoleum floor, counting the scuff marks to keep myself grounded. 1, 2, 3. Each mark a reminder that I'm still here, still breathing, even if every breath feels like a betrayal. Back home, the house is too quiet, like it's holding its breath. Michael disappears into his office without a word, the door slamming shut like a judge's gavel. I sit on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen, its reflection showing a version of me I don't recognize, bruised, hunched, a stranger in my own skin. The phone rings, shrill and insistent, and Claire answers. I can't hear the other side, but her face tells me everything. Her skin goes pale, her lips press into a thin line, and when she slams the receiver down, her eyes lock. Onto mine. What did you say to the doctor? She hisses, her voice a blade wrapped in velvet. I don't answer. For once, I don't try to explain. Don't try to make her see me. I just sit there, breathing through the pain, letting her words bounce off me. She stands frozen in the hallway, her hands trembling, and I realize she's not angry, she's terrified. The phone clatters to the floor, and I know something's broken open, something we can't put back together. The next morning, sunlight spills through the kitchen window, too bright, too cheerful for the weight in the air. I pull on a loose flannel, wincing as the fabric brushes my ribs, and shuffle into the kitchen. They're all there, playing their parts in this twisted theater. Michael at the table, skimming the Seattle Times like it's any other Saturday. Claire pouring coffee with the precision of a surgeon, her hands steady but her eyes darting. Liam slouched in his chair, smirking like he's untouchable, his Seahawks cap pulled low. Morning, Claire says, her voice polished to a sheen, like she can erase last night with a single word. No one looks at me. I ease into a chair, biting back a gasp as my ribs protest. The silence is suffocating, a script we've all memorized. Don't cry, don't speak, don't break the facade. Claire sets a plate of toast in front of me, her smile tight. We're moving forward, she says, not a suggestion but a command. I push the toast around my plate, the scrape of my fork the only sound. Liam grins across the table, his eyes glinting with something dark, something that makes my stomach twist. I don't eat. I can't. A knock at the door shatters the silence. Firm and unyielding. Claire freezes, her coffee mug halfway to her lips. Michael's eyes flick to hers, a silent agreement passing between them. She smooths her hair, forces a smile, and answers the door. Donovan Rhodes? A woman's voice asks, calm but authoritative. I edge toward the hallway, peering past the staircase. She's in her 40s, holding a clipboard, a badge clipped to her cardigan. I'm Rachel Bennett, Child and Family Services. I need to speak with Donovan. Alone. Claire's smile doesn't waver, but her eyes are ice. Of course, she says, stepping aside. I walk toward the front porch, each step a knife in my side, but the pain keeps me sharp. Rachel gestures for me to sit on the steps, her voice softening. You're safe to talk to me. she says, leaning in just enough to block my parents' view. My heart pounds so hard I feel it in my throat. I want to tell her everything, the garage, the lies, the USB drive burning a hole in my pocket, but my voice won't come. I nod instead, a small, shaky movement. Behind us, Michael clears his throat, stepping into the doorway. He's always been dramatic, he says, his tone light but laced with warning. Makes things bigger than they are. Claire chimes in, her voice syrupy. He's clumsy. Always has been. Used to trip over his own feet in middle school. They're so good at this, rewriting me into a story that fits their narrative. Rachel scribbles something on her clipboard, her face unreadable, and hands Claire a card. We'll follow up, she says before leaving. The air in the house shifts, heavier now, like a storm waiting to break. I slip upstairs, my ribs throbbing with every step, and lock my bedroom door. My phone's on the nightstand, and I plug. In my earbuds, replaying the recording I made of my parents' conversation with Rachel. Their voices are cold, calculated, dismissing me like I'm a problem to be managed. He's paranoid, Michael says. Always looking for attention, Claire adds. I save the file to the USB drive, my hands shaking. It's not enough, not yet, but it's something. The stairs creak under my weight as I head to the basement that night. The house is asleep except for the hum of the heater. The air down here is damp, thick with the smell of mildew and forgotten things. I pull the chain on the single bulb, its light casting long shadows over boxes of Christmas lights and old camping gear. I'm looking for something I can't name. A piece of the past that might make sense of the present. My ribs ache as I kneel beside a box labeled 1998. My fingers sifting through faded Polaroids and tangled extension cords until I find it a small voice recorder. Its plastic casing cracked but intact. I wipe off the dust and press play, my heart hammering. Static crackles, then Claire's voice, younger but unmistakable. He hit him again today, she says, her tone clipped. We can't let this get out when the social worker comes. Liam's only 9, but Donovan bruises so easily. We have to keep it quiet. My breath catches, the words slicing through me like glass. It wasn't just this time. It wasn't just me. She's been covering for him since we were kids, protecting. Her golden boy while I was the collateral damage. I replay the tape, each word a confirmation of what I've always known but never dared admit. My fingers tighten around the recorder until my knuckles ache. I'm about to copy the file to my USB drive when the floorboards above groan. What the hell are you doing down there? Liam's voice, sharp and suspicious. I freeze, the recorder clutched against my chest. My ribs scream as I shove it under my flannel, forcing my face blank as I climb the stairs. He's waiting at the top, arms crossed, his eyes flicking over my bruises, my silence. He doesn't say another word, but his stare is a threat, a promise to keep me in line. The next day, I'm walking to the bus stop, my hood up against the Seattle drizzle. My ribs protest every step, but I keep moving, the USB drive a heavy weight in my backpack. I tell Claire I'm heading to the library, and she doesn't even look up from her coffee. Good. The fewer questions, the better. But as I cross the street, a car screeches around the corner, its headlights blinding. I jump back, my foot slipping on the wet pavement, and land hard on my side. Pain explodes through my ribs, stealing my breath. The driver doesn't stop, just speeds off into the rain. I lie there for a moment, the USB drive digging into my back, a reminder that I can't stop now. At the clinic, Dr. Carter's waiting, his office a small oasis of calm. He doesn't push, just sits across from me, his hands folded. Tell me. Everything or nothing, he says. I'm still here. I pull out the USB drive, my voice barely above a whisper. Listen to this. He plugs it into his laptop, and we sit in silence as Claire's voice fills the room, admitting to years of covering for Liam. When it ends, Dr. Carter leans back, his face grim. You've been surviving a long time, Donovan, he says. This is truth, and truth builds power. He shows me my medical file, Pages of accidental injuries, bike crashes, falls, all lies. One note stops me cold, in my own scrawled handwriting from when I was 10. It wasn't a bike crash. It was Liam. I laugh, bitter and broken. I told the truth once, I say. No one listened. Dr. Carter's eyes soften. I'm listening now. That night, I'm back in my room, the USB drive by my pillow like a talisman. I hear footsteps outside my door, a single pause, then retreat. My heart races, but I don't move. I'm done being afraid. I press record on the voice recorder, my voice low but steady. Try it again, Liam, I whisper. I'm not that kid anymore. The house is quiet, but it's a lie. Something's coming, and for the first time, I'm ready. The rain hasn't stopped. A relentless Seattle drizzle that soaks through my hoodie as I stand at the bus stop. The USB drive a cold weight in my backpack. My ribs ache with every breath, a dull throb that's become my new normal. Last night's whisper into the recorder tried again. Liam, I'm not that kid anymore echoes in my head, a defiant spark in the dark. But the spark feels fragile now, out here in the gray morning, with the world pressing in. I keep my hood up, eyes on the wet pavement, counting cracks to steady my pulse. The bus screeches to a stop, and I climb on, ignoring the driver's glance at the fading bruise on my jaw. I'm heading to Dr. Carter's clinic again, unannounced, because the truth on the USB drive is burning a hole through me. I can't wait any longer. The clinic's waiting room is quiet, the fluorescent lights humming softly. The receptionist recognizes me, her smile tight but kind. Donovan, right? He's with a patient, but I'll let him know you're here. I nod, sinking into a chair, my backpack clutched against my chest like armor. My phone buzzes Claire's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, her voice a muffled plea I don't want to hear. You're making a mistake, Donovan. We're your family. I delete it without listening to the rest. Family. The word tastes bitter, like the coffee I can smell from the break room. Dr. Carter calls me in, his face calm but searching. You're back sooner than I expected, he says, closing the door. I don't waste time. I pull out the USB drive, my hands steadier. Can I feel there's more, I say, my voice low. Another recording from when I was a kid. He plugs it in, and we listen to my younger self, 8 years old, voice trembling. If I say something, they'll hate me. Liam pushed me into the wall again. I saw stars. The tape cuts off, my childhood fear hanging in the air like smoke. Doctor. Carter's jaw clenches, his pen scratching across a notepad. This changes everything, he says. We can file this formally, quietly. No one will see it coming. I nod, but my stomach twists. Will it be enough? Can CPS do anything with this? He leans back, his eyes steady. Not always right away, but you're building a case. This, he taps the USB drive, is a foundation. He pulls out my medical file again, flipping to a page I hadn't seen. A note from a nurse when I was 10. Patient reports brother. Caused injury. Parents insist it was a fall. I stare at the words, my own handwriting from years ago staring back. I told the truth once, I whisper. No one read it. Dr. Carter's voice softens. I'm reading it now, Donovan, and it matters. He mentions a trauma advocate, Lisa, who can help me navigate what's next. You don't have to decide today, he says. We move smart, we move safe. I nod, feeling a flicker of control, like a match catching in the wind. But as I leave the clinic, the rain picks up, and I slip on the wet curb, my backpack slamming into my ribs. The pain is blinding, a white-hot flare that drops me to my knees. A passerby stops, an older woman with a concerned frown. You okay? Kid? I force a smile, waving her off. Just slipped. But as I stand, I check my backpack. The USB drive is still there, safe. I can't lose it. Not now. Back home, the house is a pressure cooker, the air thick with unspoken threats. I keep to my room, headphones in, pretending I can block out the world. But Sunday dinner is non-negotiable. Claire's sacred family time. I drag myself downstairs, my ribs protesting every step. The dining room smells of pot roast and tension, the table set like a stage for a performance no one believes in. Liam slouched in his chair, scrolling through his phone, his Seahawks cap pulled low. Claire sets the roast down, her apron pristine, as if perfection can erase the cracks in this family. Michael's at the head of the table, his face a mask. A forced calm. I sit at the end, staring at my soup, stirring it to avoid their eyes. Claire breaks the silence, her voice too bright. You've been quiet, Donovan. Did Dr. Carter give you something new? You seem distracted. I don't look up, no. Michael chimes in, his tone reasonable but edged. He says you're still paranoid. You shouldn't listen to everything he says. The word paranoid lands like a slap, and I grip my. Spoon tighter, the metal biting into my palm. Liam decides to push it, like he always does. His spoon clatters into my bowl, soup splashing across my flannel, soaking through to my skin. Oops, he says, leaning back with a smirk. I inhale slowly, forcing my breath to steady. This is their game push, minimize, laugh, gaslight. But tonight, something shifts. I grip my fork, the pain in my ribs a grounding force. You ever think, I say, my voice soft but clear, that maybe you're all just scared of me changing? The room freezes. Liam's smirk falters. Michael's head jerks up. Claire's knuckles whiten around her napkin. What did you just say? Liam's voice is low, dangerous. I meet his stare. If I was really paranoid, wouldn't it be? Easier to dismiss me, but you're not. You're scared. Claire's jaw tightens. Donovan, stop. I don't. Funny thing about old houses, I say my tone even, they keep old sounds, especially in the basement. Michael's palm slams the table, the dishes rattling. That's enough, he barks. This family doesn't tear itself apart over your delusions. I lean back, looking at each of them like I'm seeing them for the first time. Delusions, I say quietly. You told me to lie about the bike crash, but Bruises don't. Lie. Liam shoves his chair back, his napkin hitting the table. He's trying to blackmail us, he spits. I don't respond to him, I turn to Michael. You told me to stay quiet to protect him. I did that for years. Claire stands, her voice trembling. We protected you, Donovan. You don't see how much we've kept together for you. I shake. My head. No, you kept it together for him. The words land like a grenade, and for once, no one has a comeback. I stand, pushing my chair back slowly, and walk away. Their silence follows me like a shadow. Upstairs, I lean against my door, my breathing ragged, but my mind clear. For the first time, they don't feel untouchable. But the victory is short-lived. Late that night, my door creaks open, the sound, pulling me from a restless sleep. I don't move, don't breathe, just listen. Footsteps, soft but deliberate, pause by my desk. When they retreat, I sit up, heart pounding. The voice recorder is there, placed neatly beside my lamp. A scrap of paper tucked beneath it reads, Play track 3. My stomach drops. I locked my door last night. I know I did. I wait until dawn, the house still, before pressing play. Static, then my voice. High and shaky, maybe 9 years old. If I say something, they'll hate me. Liam pushed me into the wall. My head hit the corner. I wanted to tell Coach, but they said to be quiet. The tape ends with my younger self crying, a sound that rips through me. I whispered to the empty room. To the kid I'm sorry I left you there too long. My reflection in the mirror looks like a stranger yellowing bruises, eyes too old for my face. They didn't just silence me. They taught me to silence myself. I grab my old journal, its pages brittle with age, and start writing. Names, dates, injuries, lies I was forced to tell. It's a map of survival, each entry a step toward the truth. But as I write, the window rattles, the wind howling outside. I glance up, and for a moment, I swear I see a shadow move past the glass. My pulse spikes. The window's locked, but the unease lingers. Someone's watching, and I don't know if it's paranoia or truth. Next day, I'm back at the clinic, my journal and USB drive in my backpack. I don't tell Claire or Michael where I'm going. I just leave, the rain a cold slap against my face. On the bus, a guy in a hoodie stares too long, his eyes tracking me as I clutch my bag. When he gets off at my stop, my heart races. I take a different route to the clinic, cutting through an alley, but my foot catches on a loose brick, and I stumble, pain flaring through my ribs. The guy's gone when I look back, but the fear stays. Dr. Carter listens to the new tape, his face grim. "This is enough to move forward," he says. "We'll keep it quiet, but we're building something solid." I nod, my voice steady. "Let them think I'm weak a little longer." He gives me a long look. "You're not weak, Donovan. You're surviving. There's a difference." His words hit deep, a lifeline I didn't know I needed. As I leave, the rain turns to a downpour, and I nearly miss the bus. I'm halfway across the street when a car swerves too close, its horn blaring. I dive to the sidewalk, my backpack cushioning the fall, but my ribs scream. The driver doesn't stop, and I'm left shaking. The USB drive's still safe, but my nerves. Afraid. I can't tell if it was an accident or a warning. That night, I placed the recorder on my desk, pressing the red button. The light blinks like a heartbeat. I whisper, "Try it again." I'm not that kid anymore. A floorboard creaks outside my door, and I freeze, waiting. Nothing. But the next morning, the house smells of burnt toast, a sharp, acrid tang that sets my nerves on edge. Liam's at the stove, poking at blackened eggs, his grin sharp when he sees me. "Guess I forgot you're allergic to smoke," he says, his eyes daring me to react. Claire snaps, "Your brother's sensitive, Liam." I open the window, letting the cold air clear the haze. "Watch your memory," I say calmly. "It might be cross-examined soon." His grin falters, and for the first time, I see a crack. In his armor by afternoon, Claire corners me in the dining room, the blinds casting slanted shadows across her face. She clutches her coffee mug like a shield. "You're provoking him, Donovan," she says, her voice soft but cutting. "You're not well. These accusations, it's not you." I keep my tone even. "You keep saying I'm broken, but maybe I'm just not scared anymore." Her face twists, and her mug shatters against the table, coffee spilling like blood. I don't flinch. "That's going in the report," I say, walking away as her breath hitches. A knock echoes through the house, measured and unyielding. I open the door to Officer Daniels, his uniform crisp, his eyes steady. "Donovan Rhodes? I need to speak with you privately." Claire appears behind me, her lips parting to protest, but Daniels cuts her off. "Ma'am, step back. This is a sealed investigation. Your name's on it." Her face drains of color, and she retreats. I lead Daniels to my room, pulling out the journal, tapes, and USB drive. He listens to the recordings, his expression unreadable. When the last tape ends, he exhales. "You've built a foundation, Donovan. It's time for the confrontation." Phase. He mentions a coach's report from when I was 11, mysteriously deleted. "We're finding out why," he says. My chest tightens, vindication and dread tangled together. That night, I skip dinner, waiting until they're eating before walking in. I place Daniel's business card on the table. "They'll follow." "Up tomorrow?" I say, "Get your stories straight." Claire's eyes well with fear, not guilt. "How could you do this to us?" She whispers. I raise my voice steady and clear. "How could I let you keep breaking me?" A fork flies past my head, Liam's parting shot. It hits the wall, but I don't miss. Tomorrow, I'll face them in a police station, not a dining room, and for the first time, I'm not afraid.